Lamentations chapter 4. How the gold has lost its luster, the fine gold become dull. The sacred gems are scattered at the head of every street. How the precious sons of Zion, once worth their weight in gold, are now considered as pots of clay, the work of a potter's hands. I'm gonna need a pause here for just a moment. Okay. So we'll come right back to about this portion right here. But there was one other thing that I wanted to mention, because take note of this, because it's going to come back in the New Testament as well. Because someone in particular is going to say this exact thing. Okay. Let him sit alone in silence, for the Lord has laid it on him. Let him bury his face in the dust. There may yet be hope. Let him offer his cheek to one who would strike him, and let him be filled with disgrace. This verse right here, let him offer his cheek to one who would strike him, and let him be filled with disgrace. Take note of that. Okay, back to chapter 4. I'm going to reread this portion too. How the precious sons of Zion, once worth their weight in gold, are now considered as pots of clay, the work of a potter's hands. Even jackals offer their breasts to nurse their young, but my people have become heartless, like ostriches in the desert. Because of thirst, the infant's tongue sticks to the roof of its mouth. The children beg for bread, but not one gives it to them. Those who once ate delicacies are destitute in the streets. Those nurtured in purple now lie on ash heaps. The punishment of my people is greater than that of Sodom, which was overthrown in a moment, without a hand turned to help her. Their princes were brighter than snow and whiter than milk, their bodies more ruddy than rubies, their appearance like sapphires. But now they are blacker than soot. They are not recognized in the streets. Their skin has shriveled on their bones. It has become as dry as a stick. Those killed by the sword are better off than those who die of famine. Racked with hunger, they waste away for lack of food from the field. With their own hands, compassionate women have cooked their own children, who become their food when my people were destroyed. The Lord has given full vent to his wrath. He has poured out his fierce anger. He kindled a fire in Zion that consumed her foundations. The kings of the earth did not believe, nor did any of the world's people, that enemies and foes could enter the gates of Jerusalem. But it happened because of the sins of her prophets and the iniquities of her priests, who shed within her the blood of the righteous. Now they grope through the streets like men who are blind. They are so defiled with blood that no one dares to touch their garments. Go away, you are unclean, men cry to them. Away, away, don't touch us. When they flee and wander about, people among the nations say, they can stay here no longer. The Lord himself has scattered them. He no longer watches over them. The priests are shown no honor, the elders no favor. Moreover, our eyes failed looking in vain for help. From our towers we watched for a nation that could not save us. Men stalked us at every step, so we cannot walk in our streets. Our end was near, our days were numbered, for our end had come. Our pursuers were swifter than eagles in the sky. They chased us over the mountains and lay in wait for us in the desert. And, here. The Lord's anointed, our very life breath, was caught in their traps. We thought that under his shadow we would live long among the nations. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, you who live in the land of Uz. But to you also the cup will be passed. You will be drunk and stripped naked. O daughter of Zion, your punishment will end. He will not prolong your exile. But, O daughter of Edom, he will punish your sin and expose your wickedness. So Jeremiah has a lot to say here as well. Listen to some of the things that he was saying. So he goes on to say, with their own hands, compassionate women have cooked their own children who became their food when my people were destroyed. The Lord has given full vent to his wrath. He has poured out his fierce anger. He kindled a fire in Zion that consumed her foundations. Okay, so these people have become so wicked that it was, again, as you can see, conceitedness, greed, it was all about themselves, to the point that they would do things that we would not think would be imaginable or a human would do. Okay, and I mentioned this before. It is difficult when devastations do happen because people do, you never know a person. You never know how they will act or react to something. It's always different. It is always different. And so in times of trials, seek the Lord. You will be definitely better off. But it just gives us examples of how people react in devastation. And listen to what he said before, like what he was mentioning before this. Their princes were brighter than snow and whiter than milk. Their bodies were more ruddy than rubies, their appearance like sapphires, but now they are blacker than soot. They are not recognized in the streets. Their skin has shriveled on their bones. It has become as dry as a stick. So people that rely on their power, their wealth, their riches, when devastation happens, it happens to all. And the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. And when we'll learn more about the whole camel through the eye of a needle in the New Testament. And we'll also learn about what we think of and what we depend on in our life. What is it? Is it an economy? Is it power? What is our vision and what is our guidance? Is it guided by the Lord? Do we have our eyes set on the Lord for our vision, or do we have our eyes set on other things? Before we go on, and because as you can see, without guidance to the Lord, that leads to destruction, devastation, complete devastation. Before we go on though, what kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind when we read over this? How does it make you feel and what does it make you think?